Hi, what's up guys? And here we are at South Island, New Zealand, right at the very north point called Picton. And this is the area back in the 1770s when Captain Cook landed here with his crew, with his ships, the Adventure and the Resolution, where he managed to meet up with cannibals. This is the exact bay, so we're gonna film around and tell you a little bit of the history. So this is where, when he landed here, all these hills and islands had smoke plumes coming up, so he knew there was inhabitants here. And what he did, he went ashore and he found a boat that had a human heart attached to the mast, a small mast. So when he asked to be led to the chief to meet the chief, he was taken to the chief, and it turned out that there was human entrails lying around by the fire. And so Cook had learned a little bit of the language by then, and he wanted to know why there were human entrails and where was the rest of the human people. And the natives explained they're their enemies, so they cooked them, removed the entrails, saved the heart as an example to other enemies, and then cooked the arms, the legs. The head was severed, and Joseph Banks took the head as a piece of memorabilia from this particular part of the land.
Oh, it was a lovely place.
Yeah, so this was Cannibal Cove 300 years ago, and now it's this beautiful, picturesque, it's big sort of like backpacking area, because all the boats leave from here to go to different parts of New Zealand. There's the boats over there, the Blue Ridge. We've just come over from North Island on one of them. So 300 years ago this was a very different place.
There was a butcher's shop on the corner.
Well, maybe he's a descendant of the cannibals, Andy, who knows. We'll have a little walkabout and did you want to try any spirit talker, or you just want to do the scenic thing?
We'll just do the scenic
Just do the scenic thing. Yeah, there's quite a few people are milling about because, yeah, we're going to take the mountain train down to Christchurch soon, so we're milling around, and just thought we'd show you this because it is actually Cannibal Cove. Yeah, it's very tropical, it's beautiful. It reminds me very much of Cairns in Australia, you know, Barrier Reef area. This looks very like that. Very, very similar. So yeah, Cook, for those people who are interested in the history, he did 3 world voyages from London, from Greenwich. The first ship, the Adventure, he went all around the globe with it, found New Zealand, and then came back to Britain via South Africa, Bay of Good Hope. Second ship, the Resolution, he went down to Antarctic with it to try and find land there. All we could find was ice. We'll just work our way through the seagulls. Andy's terrified of seagulls, he won't come up here. I've left him back there to guard the luggage. This is his phobia, he hates seagulls. He's really scared of them, so he won't come anywhere near them. Anyway. So yeah, going back to Captain Cook and the Resolution. Second journey, he went through the Antarctic to try and find, they believed there was land at the pole, but obviously all they could find was like, you know, I think they described 20 metres thick ice, or possibly even more than that. Icebergs, same like the North Pole.
Oh yeah.
Well, have you got the bags? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay with everything there? Just let me show Andy. Andy's weighed down. He's bag man today. He's luggage man today.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, so
Could have been worse. I could have been up to 2 places as well.
the only place that you can really go on land close to the Antarctic is a place called Kerguelen Island, which was found by a Frenchman, Kerguelen.
Yeah.
That's the only place, and the other place is Elephant Island off the coast of South America as well. They're the 2 places that you can actually go that's closest to the Antarctic.
Yeah.
Can't go anywhere really. But it's alright. If you want to come on film, you can come on. Yeah, it's they sailed as far as they could down into the ice, but obviously the ship got stuck, so they weren't able to go any further. But they did the experiments that they needed to do. They took samples of the ice back on board and melted it, and they tested the quality of the water as best they could in 1770, 1780 with the equipment they had back then, which was the latest thing. Are you alright with those guys? Alright. It's his Marlborough Sound. Queen Charlotte Sound's probably around the other side. But all of this was Cannibal Call. Yeah. All the peoples in this region were all the same. Yeah, so this is Marlborough Sound, which Cook named all these places. He gave everything their name. Named them all after people he knew in Britain, lords, landowners, friends, that kind of thing. So, going back to the Antarctic, you can only go down to the Antarctic now if you're actually doing sort of experimental work. You might as well go down on the beach for a bit.
Yeah.
If you're doing scientific and conservation work and all that, you're allowed to go to the Antarctic, but it's really difficult to go to the Antarctic. They're very sort of secretive and protective about it, and I'm hearing different things about the Antarctic, to be fair. I'm hearing different things about it. I've heard from one or two documentaries that, well, let's put it this way, there was a pilot who flew a group of scientists from America down to the Antarctic on a scientific mission, and on his way back he saw little silver spheres coming out of a hole in the ice that resembled small UFOs, and he couldn't make out what it were, and he asked around and they weren't talking about it. It was sort of a top secret thing. So it does make you wonder. They say they're down there testing the ice for global warming and all that, but really, have they found something there? Is the Antarctic an entrance to the middle of the earth where these spheres are coming from? Are they aliens? Is this what's going on and they're not telling us this? Different theories. But I know the people that take the scientists on ship or by air to the Antarctic don't get to know what's going on there. They're just delivering the passengers and then picking them off after. You alright there with them seagulls, Andy? It's alright, I explained to the guides about the seagulls. You want to go and sit over there? I don't want you to be traumatised before you get on the train. Yeah, this is like, what's it, the movie The Birds. He's run off now in fear. Yeah, it's like Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds around here right now, so I guess someone's chucking food for him. So, that was the second voyage of Captain Cook. And he stayed out 3 years and 2 months on his second voyage. And he came home, he went up South American coast and came across by St Helena, back over to Cape Verde and back over to Britain Land's End, and then round the bottom through to Greenwich in London. Third voyage, he went back to New Zealand, went back to Tahiti, back to New Zealand, went back around up the west coast of America, Hawaii, then he went up to Alaska, all around the top of Alaska to the northeast, going towards Canada. Then his ship ran into some trouble. It was starting to rot and he needed new planks of wood, so he came back round to Hawaii to get the planks of wood, and that's when the natives had him and put him to death. And what happened with him? When he was in Hawaii in Keokule Bay, he turned up at exactly the time when the natives were expecting a god to turn up. So he sailed in with his big ship, the Resolution, and you know, his other ship that he had with him that time, Discovery, and the people had never seen these ships before, so they were all like throwing parties and singing and tribal dancing and welcoming Cook and welcoming Captain Furneaux, who was with him, and they were like this has got to be this god that we're waiting for. So they treated Cook like a god. They had him on land, they cooked for him, they had parties, they dancing, singing, gifts. He was there for about 3 or 4 months. Then he left them and he sailed on to Alaska to carry on charting the map for Alaska. But he ran out of wood for the ship, so he needed to come back down to Hawaii where he knew he could get good wood. And when he came back, the natives turned against him because they were like, you're the god Lono, you've already been, you shouldn't be back here, what are you doing back here? If you come back here, you bring us bad luck. So they turned upon him. And it was a very quick death for Cook. Apparently one of them stabbed him in the back with a long blade and he died. They clubbed him over the head and he died instantly. But what they did, there was a big fight then between the natives and the two ships were firing the cannons back. Cook died instantly. But the natives then removed his head, his arms, his legs and kept them as sort of paying homage to the god, if you like. So they distributed the head, the leg, the other leg, an arm and the other arm between the different tribes to keep. The torso body was given back to the crew and they buried him at sea, what was left of him at sea, off the coast of Hawaii. So if you go there today, Kirikula Bay, there is a statue for Cook and there's a small marine museum and there's stuff there, you know, about his life and his 3, you know, global missions. And if it wasn't for him, really, you know, we wouldn't be able to do this today. These islands wouldn't be as they are now. They would have taken them much longer to catch up, I think. We wouldn't have all this today. Look what we have now. It's just amazing, this place. It's beautiful. It's tropical. It's a chill out place. It's relaxing. The people are nice. The food's good. So much natural beauty and stuff going on. History. There's a lot of Maori history. There's Andy. We've caught him lighting a cigarette. Yeah, it's but the story of Cook is really like such an exciting adventure. The people that he met on the way, you know, he befriended a guy called Tapaya who was an islander, a native islander from Tahiti, although he originated from Raiatea, and he moved to Tahiti and he knew all the Polynesian islands. So he took Cook and his men around the Polynesian islands so they could chart the maps, and he did all the interpreting. And he helped him along, you know, showed him how to guide his ship by reading the stars. And all of this, especially when he met the Cannibals, took place right in this very bay. And this is what we've been doing, trying to make contact with Cook on this adventure, but we haven't yet had him through Spirit Talker, so perhaps he's just a person who doesn't want to be brought through, you know. Can't bring everyone through. Yeah. So it's been a fascinating adventure on it, and now we're down to Christchurch.
Yeah.
But Cook went everywhere in New Zealand. He went round the top island and he went round this one, the South Island, because he charted the whole of the maps for it. So wherever we go, there's going to be some connection with him. Bearing in mind he came here 3 times.
Yeah.
So because he come here 3 times, it's like, you know, he had a lot of communication with the natives. He made a lot of friends.
Beautiful this country is.
No, you can't.
You really. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful country.
It really is. It's natural too.
Yeah, you can't explain it. It's so. It is. I must admit, it's one of the nicest places I've been to.
I think for us it's been about the natural beauty of it, hasn't it? The mountains, the sea, the forests.
And I think one thing that strikes me more than anything is respect the country, respect everything in this country, the animal life, the tree, they want to protect what they've got and keep it as it is, and everybody seems to have that respect for the country.
Yeah, they do.
Do you know what I mean? There's no. It is though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's down, and that's. I can honestly say, I mean, people are just friendly. People are just friendly, but it's like they're respectful to each other.
Yeah.
And they're respectful to everything. You know, the land, the sea, everything. They just want to keep it as it is.
Yeah.
They don't want to let it be destroyed.
No, it's beautiful, isn't it?
You know, and I think that's something you've got to learn and something you'll take back with you.
Yeah, definitely.
That there is that respect. You know, you don't meet anybody like up to now. Nobody aggressive or drunk or you know any kind of
no antisocial behaviour, is there?
Antisocial behaviour, and I think that's brought all down through all the culture.
Yeah.
The culture that you respect people.
Yeah.
And I think it's bred into the way of life. You know, if you respect everything, if you respect the earth you live on, it'll respect you.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, but they don't do it. It's not done in a way that you feel as though you're restricted.
No.
You know, you can do what you want, but as long as you respect what's around you, your surroundings, the people, then you're all right.
And one of the amazing things that Cook found out when he was travelling is that the language was the same from Hawaii, the Hawaiian Islands, all the way down to Tonga, Tahiti, Bora Bora, all the way down to New Zealand, all the way down through Fiji. All of the islands all spoke the same language, so he had a couple of people on board who could translate for him everywhere he went.
Well, I think I was looking the other day and it says Hawaii is the native land.
Yeah.
So people who came here came from Hawaii.
Yeah,
so Hawaii
it's
is
possible
like,
that Easter Island as well is up that way.
Hawaii is like the sort of homeland.
Well, they call the Polynesian Triangle is Hawaii, Easter Island and here.
Yeah.
So we've now done 2 points of the Polynesian Triangle. Easter Island is the third place we need to go.
Yeah.
And that's the third point of the Polynesian Triangle. But Cook befriended a couple of people from New Zealand, well, one from Tahiti, Tapai, who was like a high sort of priest, and he had a lot of spiritual powers. He could read the stars, and you know, he could communicate with all these different peoples on all the different islands, and they all seemed to know who he was. And he also had Omai, who was like a teenage boy who just wanted to have the adventure to travel, and he actually came back to London, Omai, on the second voyage, and he stayed in London for 3 years while Cook was away. He came back with Captain Furneaux on the second voyage, and Captain Furneaux came back 2 years before Cook because he had trouble with the ship. The Resolution was dropping to bits, so he had to limp home. So Omai stayed in London with Lord Sandwich for a couple of years, and then when Cook came back on his second voyage, and then he fitted his ship out for the third voyage, he said to Omai, I'll take you back to Tahiti now if you want to go. So he took the boy with him first around the islands to do the translating and stuff. Then he went to drop the boy off at Tahiti, and Omai was crying, and he said, I don't want to come to Tahiti. And Cook was like, why not? Your family are here. He said, no, I don't get on with my mum and my dad, and I don't get on with my sisters, so don't drop me at Tahiti. Can you please take me to I think it was the other island he wanted to go to, Hua Hin. And Cook said, alright, I'll drop you at Hua Hin, no problem, but why do you want to go to Hua Hin? He said, because my auntie and uncle, my cousins are there, and I get on with them a lot better. So Cook said, okay, pack your things back onto the ship and I'll take you to Hua Hin and drop you there. So there were some funny stories attached, you know, to Cook. He did give passengers a lift from this island to that if they wanted to go. He became kind of a bit of a ferry service for them at one point. But yeah, the whole story is fascinating. It's nice to see they've got still a lot of stuff named after Cook here. This is the Cook Straits, what you call the Cook Straits, the sea between North and South Island. And I weren't quite sure what the weather was going to be like here, because I thought as you go further south it would get colder because we're going more towards the South Pole, but actually it's hotter here, isn't it, right now?
Well, I know it's supposed to be sunny, whether that's sunny till don't, but I know that guy I was talking to yesterday said when you get the summer here and the sun's out, he said it is hot.
It is very hot.
He said it's
it
hot.
is very hot.
He said you can literally be out in it in half an hour. He said, and that's too much.
That's true, that,
He says,
because they only sell Factor 50 sun cream here. You can't get any less. We've been around all the different shops and you can only buy Factor 50. So obviously that's how strong the sun is if they're only selling Factor 50.
We're just getting it coming out of the winter now.
Yeah.
And getting towards the summer now. So
there is a nip in the air, but it's hot already. The springtime,
yeah,
innit?
when it gets dark, when the sun goes down and it gets dark, it does get a bit of a chill.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad last night because there was a clear sky. It wasn't as windy. I mean, obviously, when you're in Wellington, you've got obviously the sea coming in. You're going to get that. You're always going to get it windy.
Yeah.
You're always going to get it like that. But yeah. That's the other fella.
The Inter-Islander.
Yeah. But I feel like that might have gone from quite a distance away from where we were.
Maybe, yeah. Well, you can go up to that Bay of Islands right at the very top of the north coast, which Cook did spend quite a lot of time there when he first came here. But you can actually go up there and spend time on the islands, you know, the tropical islands and stuff. But it very, very reminds me much of Cairns in Australia. It's like mountainous and tropical and beaches and yeah, but it's like this all throughout New Zealand, isn't it? Whereas there it's only like that really at Cairns.
Yeah, it's all right. It's very similar to Hawaii, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah. Because Hawaii is very volcanic.
Very like that. Yeah.
So we're trying to do a bit of the Cook story whenever we get the chance to come to these places, and we're also following up on pirates as well. So next year we're going to go out to Boston and Washington DC next year to see if we can see some of the famous haunted houses in Connecticut. But also we'll be doing some pirate stuff because Charleston, the North Carolina, Charleston, the river runs in to Washington DC, and then if you get the train from there down to Charleston, it's a very famous bay for pirates because what happened was they used to be plundering around the Caribbean, and when they were being wanted, they'd take their ships and they'd hide in the estuaries at Boston and at Charleston to get away from the government, and you know, because it was a hanging offence if you got caught doing piracy. So we're going to be doing some pirate stuff in America this time next year. But for now, we're going to do Christchurch, and we'll be back in time for Halloween. Well, it will be Halloween will have been and gone by the time this gets loaded up. But we're talking like because it's the middle of October right now. But by the time you guys see this, we'll be well back and we'll have probably done the Halloween things and stuff by then. But yeah, it's just wanted to show you what it's like here. So this is Picton on the north coast, Marlborough Sound. And there are places to stay here. It's more of a kind of backpacking place. It's like walking trails and you can hire boats and cars. But it's probably really cheap accommodation here. There's a couple of restaurants, bars and a supermarket, and some places where you can like book sea kayaking, bike hire and whale watching. So there's plenty to do in this.
Rock Hotel. A nice place.
Yeah.
I mean, probably a good place for people who live here.
Yeah, for a break.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is for getting to other places, you know, from here. I don't really know.
Did you want to take the camera and have a film while I just get me a bottle of
I will set the camera and I will have a film.
What did you do with the bottle of Coke?
It's in my bag.
I'll get it.
Ah, that's it. I can't see because of my glasses right now. Bloody pigeons. Pigeons, I don't know. Hate them things. The evil. Evil things. Yeah. Zoom in again. Evil. They are the devil. They are the devil's birds. Sorry. I'll have a moment then. I'll have a moment then. Anyway. Oh, look at. Oh, that's you. Oh, look who it is.
I'm having a breather.
Fancy seeing you?
I've run out of things to say now. I need to read a bit more on
What do you mean you've
Cook
run out of things to say? How
Because
that's not possible.
I do need
And I
to
mean
study.
that in a nice way. That's not possible
That's
for
what every
you to
husband
run out of
says to
things
his
out to
wife,
say.
though, isn't it?
Come on.
No, I need to learn more about
what?
Cook's
You know enough.
voyages in detail because I've read his actual journal that he wrote himself. But then you've got your experts and your historians and all the people that have written books on top of that, which Joseph Banks wrote a book. So his book is all about like the sort of the trees, the plants, the animals and things that they found here in the natives. He had a bit more interaction with the natives because he was learning all about the different cultures and stuff here. Joseph Banks was the scientist on board, but he came from a very wealthy family, so he funded his own trip. He paid Cook, a few thousand to come on this trip, and he brought with him a couple of scientists that were in training from university, and he brought with him a couple of servants to serve him on board, and a couple of dogs, pet dogs. So he had the funds, to do that. So he came out here. It was a self-paid-for expedition. He was good friends with Cook, but he had more to do with talking to the natives about their artwork and how they created it and what the gods were that they were painting and the woodwork, what they were chiselling and things like that. So he concentrated more. Whereas Cook, it's all about the land, and what happened when he got here. It's more of a diary. Joseph Banks goes more into detail. Joseph Banks took an artist with him called Sidney Parkinson who sketched everything. So if you go to the Greenwich Maritime Museum in London, you can see all those sketches and paintings right there. But recently, in 1997, some papers of Joseph Banks turned up, and there was some stuff from Cook's in there as well. So they've actually added a little bit more stuff onto the story now, mostly about Tapia, really, the priest. He was also an artist. They didn't realise that some of the sketches and things that turned up in Cook's journals were actually done by Tapia the priest. And unfortunately, Tapia the priest died in Sumatra on the way back, or Jakarta on the way back, because in the 1770s Jakarta was called Batavia, and it was a Dutch port where all the ships pulled in to get like fruit, vegetables, just stock up supplies. But when Cook pulled in there on the way home back to England after the first voyage, a fever, like a river fever, had broken out, and it took a lot of his men. A lot of people died, including Sidney Parkinson, the artist. So Banks came home with the paintings, and sadly the artist was no longer. So that was the first voyage, and Cook was really annoyed because he'd spent the whole voyage keeping his men healthy. He got like fruit, vegetables, meats. He'd a good chef, a one-armed cook on board, but he was a very good chef. He made sure that they had plenty of fresh water. He did everything he possibly could to keep them healthy. So Cook was really annoyed that when they pulled into Batavia, which is now Jakarta, that his men, about 30 of his men died of the river swamp fever, and he had no control over that. So he was like, you do your best and then you can land at one place and it can just ruin everything. But second voyage was a bit more, it was longer, it was 3 years longer, 3 years and 2 months he stayed out, because he did from London down to, they always stopped at Cape Verde or Tenerife area, and then at Madeira, and then they came down Cape Horn, and then they went up through the islands up to Batavia to stock up. Then they go onto the islands, which normally Tahiti was the first one they'd land at because the natives were friendly there, and it was a good place to set the astronomical apparatus up to study the transit of Venus and the transit of Mercury, which helped people on the seas to steer the ships in the right direction for where they were going. And then he always came down to Bora Bora, Hua Hin, Tonga, a smaller island called Tonga Tapu, and then he'd come down to New Zealand. He didn't go anywhere near Fiji because at the time Fiji had a terrible outbreak of like scrofula and impetigo, and what's the other one? Leprosy. So he didn't want to get his men sick, so he avoided Fiji at all accounts at that time. That's why it's called French Polynesian, because it's mostly the French that discovered those lands. So he bypassed Fiji because of that reason. And then he found this New South Wales area of Australia on the first voyage, and he went up the side of Australia, and then he got stuck in the Barrier Reef for about 3 weeks with the ship. Had to get hands to help him get canoes and all that to pull him out of there. really interesting book. If anybody wants a really, really interesting historical seafaring book from 1770 to about 1785, Captain Cook's journals by Penguin Classics, James Cook, and it's honestly, I couldn't put it down. If you like Robinson Crusoe and you like Treasure Island and you like all that stuff, this you'll love, because it's a true account of what happened out here. And Robinson Crusoe was written about the Scottish guy called Alexander Selkirk, who was a castaway on an island off the coast of South America, and he was cast away for about 7 years. But when Daniel Defoe did the novel, he did it that the guy was 30 years stuck on the island. So those kinds of books, and a lot of people were castaways and never got found. We were in a museum yesterday where somebody had put a message in a bottle and sent it in the sea, saying, I am such a body, I'm stuck on this island, the other people are all dead, I'm the only remaining one alive, please help me. And by the time they got the bottle and checked the place out, there was no one there, so they assumed he'd perished. So
I suppose that's the only way if you tried everything else. I suppose it's the only one way of doing it, isn't it? I suppose.
That and setting a fire and sending the smoke plumes up in the air. Yeah. Because if anybody's coming in by ship, they'll head for them smoke plumes because they know there's people there, whether it's natives or if it's people that's marooned. Some people just got stuck.
A place on the hill.
Well, the houses up in the mountain there. We need to keep an eye on the time, Andy. Train.
Yeah, we'll have a look.
Alright, so I think we've done pretty much all we can do up to now. Cook. So do you want to say goodbye until we get to Christchurch, and then we'll pick up the paranormal in Christchurch? Alright. Goodbye from me as well. So we're going to go down to Christchurch now on the train, and we're going to do a couple more paranormals there, Cook. And we're going to follow up on this cryptoid thing. There's not really anybody saying anything here about cryptoid, but I don't believe for 1 minute you can have all this mountainous rainforest and not have any cryptoids at all. So we're going to look a little deeper into that.
Story for another day.
Yeah, when we get to Christchurch.
Yeah.
Alright, so what do you think, Andy? You think there's more? Got to be something here. There's cryptoid in well, they've seen a Bigfoot in Sumatra, so even Finding Bigfoot have been out there looking for it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I do think there's got to be something.
Here, maybe they just don't.
Look at all these mountains. Look at them all. And look, and I'll zoom in, and this is just this bay. The whole of New Zealand has got all these mountains and forests.
There's nothing there.
You're telling me there's nothing else but human beings and just the ordinary animals, bird life that they get here? I'm not having it. I'm pretty sure there's got to be something more. New Zealand is full of these mountains and forests. Really, so it's got to be other life than what they found. Now, is it a country where they hide it? You know, like you get countries like Chile that tell everybody when they see a UFO.
They may well do, because they'd have people coming here trying to kill it.
Well, that's the thing.
Like you do with everything. Like you do with anything that's, you know, like Bigfoots. What do people do when they try and hunt it and kill it? Yeah, what if that's the last one?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Why can you not just get evidence that it's alive, that it's living, get photographs, get videos, find out if it's living, get evidence, and then just let it live on it. Well, you just let it live. It's never killed anybody. It's never physically attacked anybody. Yeah, they throw stones, but that's to get them away from you, as anybody would do if somebody was invading the property.
Yeah.
It's not attacked anybody, it's not killed anybody. So, do you know what I mean?
Well, it's like Dogman, isn't it? I know we picked up all them Dogman sounds, and I've told a couple of people, YouTubers that are interested in it, but I wouldn't go public with it because you think you're going to get everybody up there looking for it, and then, you know, you're just disturbing its natural habitat.
I mean, I think in Britain the only people you get out looking for it are people who are genuinely interested in it. You know,
because obviously we don't have sort of hunting things in Britain like they do in America.
No.
But in this country, you won't get anybody else going looking for it other than people who've got a really big interest in it.
Yeah.
Everybody else just thinks you're a lunatic. It's all about rubbish.
Until they have an
Well,
encounter.
that's fair enough. But
But it's like everything, isn't it? Whether it's ghosts, UFOs or cryptoids, until you have an encounter, a lot of people don't believe in it until they've actually had an encounter
when you've
themselves.
experienced it,
Which I get that, I understand
you don't
that.
need any proof.
No.
We've experienced it, we've heard it, we've heard things twice.
Yeah.
And sorry, 2 or 3 times we've heard stuff that isn't natural. So, you know, and the reason these people go out and go, oh, it's all a rubbish, because they've never been out there.
Yeah.
They've never tried. You know, people who say, oh, there's no paranormal, there's no these animals out there that nobody knows about, because you sat at home watching telly.
To be fair, Andy, I haven't had anybody say that to me at all.
But-
All the people I've talked to about paranormal and cryptoids and
Yeah, I
UFOs, they all had a pretty open mind about
I would
it.
say that. I would say the people who watched it have gone, I have no idea what that is.
I've
I've
had-
even had people who try to find out what kind of footprint that was,
Yeah.
and there isn't one.
I've even
But
had,
people can't understand what that noise is, and not one person has said, oh, it's a dog.
No.
They've all said it sounds like a dog at the start, but then it doesn't. So
I think when you talk to people about what you do and what other YouTubers do, and then they go away and watch it, I think they come back with a different opinion then. Because I've talked to a couple of youngsters, younger ones at work, and they've said, I'm not sure if I believe in it or not, but then they've gone away and watched our channel and watched other people's channels, and they've come back with, you know what, yeah, I'm scared now, there must be
do
something
you know
out
what
there.
I think it is? They watch the programmes on the telly about things like that. You want to explain? And these are television people that they're doing it for a television programme and they're getting paid for it. So I think people don't trust that. No matter how good they are and how brilliant they are and anything,
Yeah.
people have that they don't trust them. When it's you, because they know you personally, they know what kind of person you are,
Yeah.
they know how you are and what you talk about, they're more likely to believe you
Yeah.
than they will somebody on telly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so anyway, we're going to end this shoot right here at
Yeah.
Picton. We're going to work our way down to Christchurch on the train,
Yeah.
and then we'll carry on filming from down there. So we're going to get hopefully a bit more paranormal in, and if there's anything else interesting, like if we can get back up in the mountains and in the forests to do some cryptid, we'll keep on at that just in case. So thanks for watching, guys, and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you very soon when we're home. But there'll be Halloween stuff being loaded up as well as the New Zealand stuff, so there'll be hot sun and there'll be cold, dark, spooky nights in Britain to watch, so there'll be hopefully plenty of stuff for you too, whatever your particular interest is.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all very soon. Goodbye.
Yeah.